why would Kirk Cousins take $50 million guaranteed when Carr got a lot more than that guaranteed, didn't he?
Carr got $70 million guaranteed, but $40 million guaranteed fully at signing. Here's the thing. It's a very simple mathematical formula. He's already got $23.94 million in hand for 2017, fully guaranteed. He signed the tender. He's getting that money no matter what. So now we project forward. How do you value this contract? Well, you look at what he would get next year under either the transition tag or the franchise tag. Under the transition tag, which would still give him a chance to go somewhere else and get an offer sheet that Washington could choose to match or not match with no compensation. That's $28.7 million. Franchise tag's $34.7 million. Let's assume, and I think that for the sake of valuing the contract, Cousins' camp has assumed transition tag. So you take 23.94, you add 28.7, that's $52 million plus. That amount, fully guaranteed, not guaranteed for injury, fully guaranteed at signing to cover the first 2 years, that's the starting point. That's not the ending point. Then the question becomes, what does it look like for 2019? What does it look like for 2020? What does it look like for 2021? And, you know, the one thing about these contracts, 5-6-year deal, once you get beyond the amount that's guaranteed, if the team continues to honor it, that means the team thinks it's a pretty good deal, right? Because these aren't two-way streets. If the team doesn't like the contract, the team either rips it up and cuts you or comes to you and says, take less money if you want to stay here, or we're going to rip this deal up and cut you. So, you know, if I'm Cousins, okay, give me 2 years, $52 million. I'll do that contract. Or give me 3 years, you know, $75 million. Fully guaranteed. I mean, he's in a position where he can drive a really hard bargain because he knows what the future looks like. And how often does a quarterback, well, first of all, how often does a franchise quarterback, a guy who throws for 4,900 yards, all of a sudden lose that ability? And how often does a guy like that suffer a career-ending injury? So, you know, the risks that would apply to other players don't apply to franchise quarterbacks. He could just say, screw it. You know what? You're not going to, you didn't give me what you could have given me in 2015. You didn't give me what you could have given me in 2016. And now I'm in a position where I can get more. And either give me more or we'll do this next year
and the other question
and you give me even more.
The other question is, Mike, how often does a team let a franchise quarterback who's put up those type of numbers walk away?
They use the franchise tag on him, but it's like they still aren't ready to declare him a franchise quarterback. Like, what's he got to do? Throwing for nearly 5,000 yards, is that enough? Well, apparently not, because it didn't get him a long-term deal coming out of 2016. And coming out of 2015, whatever he did then wasn't enough to get a long-term deal. It's almost like they want to forget about the franchise tag and come up with some separate value for a contract. Well, that's not the way it works. You get the franchise tag. That becomes the starting point for the negotiation. And I thought what Cousins said recently is very important. When he said that I hired my agent to do a job, that means he's not going to swoop in and pull a Tom Brady and tell Mike McCartney, I don't care what you say this deal should be worth, take less. Because McCartney, if he doesn't do a deal consistent with the formula that other agents apply to do these long-term contracts with a franchise tag, he's going to get killed in his industry. He's going to have other agents point to what McCartney did with Cousins as reasons not to be represented by Mike McCartney and by his agency, and it's a very cutthroat competitive business. So if this is all in the agent's hands, the agent is going to push this like he would any other deal, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's why, I mean, that's what Cousins is basically saying. I've told my agent to go out and get the best possible deal he can. And if the agent does anything less than the best deal he can get, that has consequences for the agent. So, you know, this and hey, oh, okay, fine, we don't do a deal. I'll take my $23.94 million this year to go with my $19.95 million last year, and next year we're going to have even more fun when we go down this path again.
And Mike, how much of this angle comes into play? I think it's a pretty significant factor that Kirk has had to deal with the fact that Snyder and Allen just have never been publicly behind him the whole time he's been here in Washington. So why would he want to spend the next 4 or 5 years here with a dysfunctional front office where they got rid of the guy who was reassembling the roster after years of disarray in McLuhan, and now it's basically, you know, you bring in Doug Williams as basically a figurehead. Bruce Allen's still in charge. He has to distrust that front office.
Well, what did Jason Campbell say last week? There was a whole lot of crazy going on when he was there. Right. Kirk has probably been privy to a lot of crazy. And now he's in a position where he can hit the open market next year. Anything other than the franchise tag, $34.47 million, Cousins will at least have a chance to go out and see what else is out there. And, guys, I'll tell you what, I keep my eyes on the Rams with Sean McVay, because if Jared Goff isn't the guy, what a tug-of-war we could see next year between Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers and Sean McVay and the Rams. And I think one of the factors for McVay as he evaluates Goff is, okay, I have to keep Goff for 2018 knowing full well that Kirk Cousins may be the quarterback of the 49ers for the next 5 or 6 years. So maybe I jump into that one as well. I mean, it could be fascinating if Cousins is out there. You could see one of the all-time great competitions to get a quarterback in you. A healthy franchise quarterback never hits the market. It never happens. Drew Brees had 20 studs in his shoulder when he became a free agent. Peyton Manning had 4 neck surgeries. Franchise quarterbacks don't hit the open market. And next year there could be 2 if we still consider Drew Brees one when he's 39, and I think we should.